I have a 12 volt 240 mAh lithium iron phosphate battery. The battery is controlled by a DALY 12 volt 250 amp capacity battery management system. In the battery management system, there is a state of charge profile that is set in the factory, and this profile is simply linear, which is not realistic. So join me in this video as I change the state of charge profile as well as the charge and discharge thresholds. Let's take a look at the factory set state of charge profile in the DALY battery management system. The column for value is the voltage of one cell. The battery is made of 4 cells in series, so 4 times each cell value gives you the voltage for the battery. When I draw a graph using the capacity percentages on the left against the voltage of the battery, I get a simple straight line. Real-world tests with my battery show that the state of charge for my lithium iron phosphate battery is not a simple straight line, so I need to change that. I carried out real-world tests of the state of charge of my lithium battery over the course of several weeks. First, I charged the battery to full capacity and then set my ePRO Plus shunt battery monitor to 100% when the battery is fully charged. Then, progressively over several weeks, I slowly discharged the battery and monitored the voltage versus state of charge of the battery as shown by my ePRO Plus battery monitor. What you see is a graph of the voltage versus the state of charge of the battery. It is not a straight line. In fact, the readings are nearly all over the place, but it closely fits a second order polynomial. The readings on this graph clearly show why it is not reliable to only depend on voltage of a battery to determine the state of charge. It is better to use a shunt monitor. I will now proceed to change the state of charge settings to more closely match the curve that I have measured. Alright, let's make a start. I have the SINOWEALTH Battery Management System software running on my Windows 10 laptop. The laptop is connected to the DALY Battery Management System with a USB cable. I will now select the correct battery model, and for the battery I have, it is SH39F003. Click enter. All the other settings here are good. Open comms port. It says open serial port COM4 successfully. Click OK, and it brings up the SINOWEALTH Battery Management Tool version 0.1. If I click on the MCU tab, you'll see this is the table for the state of charge for voltages from 10% capacity right up to 100%. The values are empty at the moment, so I will read the values in from the battery management system. Here we are. It's now read the values in. These values here are, for instance, at 100%, this is 3650 millivolts per cell. So there are 4 cells to give the total 12 volts. So this is really 3.65 volts per cell. I will change these progressively. Let's start at the 10% state of charge capacity. I want to make that 3.213. So I just click on that cell, type 3213, next cell 3225, next cell 3238, next cell 3250 for 40% state of charge. 50% state of charge, I make that 3265. 60% state of charge, I make that 3283. 70% state of charge, I make that 3300. 80% state of charge, I make that 3318. 90% state of charge, I make that 3338. 100% state of charge, I make that 3400. I'll just check the values again. Yes, the values are correctly set. What I'll do is I'll click on the write all in order to write these values into the battery management system from the software on the laptop to the battery management system hardware. It's done that. So now if I do read all, the value should not change but should show up these values, which it does. So that's good. This means that what I have just done is change the state of charge profile from the factory set blue line to the user set red line. I will then monitor to see how the battery management system state of charge compares to the state of charge reported by the ePRO Plus battery monitor. Next, I'll go to charge and discharge. I want to change the values here. The factory setting for the charge over current is 320 amps. For my purposes, that is too high. I will reduce that to 80 amps simply because the maximum output on my DC to DC charger is 40 amps. So I do not foresee even getting to charge at 80 amps, much less 320 amps. So that's the only thing I'm going to change. I will now click on write all. And if I click on read all to confirm, it will show it's now saved as 80 amps. The last set of values I want to change is the discharge over current values. The factory setting for long delay discharge over current is 375 amps. For my purposes, that is too high. I will reduce that to 250 amps. And it can discharge 250 amps over 2 times 500 milliseconds. The factory has set the short delay discharge over current as 500 amps over 500 milliseconds. For my purposes, this is too high. I will reduce this to 350 amps over a duration of 500 milliseconds. This is all the change I want to do. I will now click on write all to write from software to the hardware. If I read all, it will show the same values. This means that the values I provided have been saved. You may not have a DALY battery management system, but the principles are the same. If you are not satisfied with the state of charge capacity profile in your battery management system, find out how to log in to your battery management system and then change the settings to a profile that is more realistic to meet your needs. I do hope you found this video interesting and helpful. Do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more and to help the channel grow. Thank you so much.